Hey guys, what's going on and welcome to a brand new video. This is going to be your preview for the Aston Villa versus Leeds United game. Of course, we got Aston Villa at the weekend, so let's go through what Daniel Farke had to say on the team news before we get into the actual game and talking about Villa and the game that's going to be coming up at Villa Park. So first off, Daniel Farke spoke about in the team news, sadly Noel Okafor has suffered a hamstring injury in the cup game. So when he did come off, it is a hamstring injury. He'll definitely miss the next 2 games. So he's going to miss the next 2 games minimum. Good news on Stack and Strauch and Dan James are back in training and available. So Stack, Strauch, and DJ are all back and available for this game against Aston Villa. The only one missing now is going to be Noel Okafor, who is going to be out for this game due to that hamstring injury that he got in the cup game. Now, people will try and come at Farke for this, and I can't wait to see people. I'm probably going to see tweets about, why didn't you take him off earlier? It's all in hindsight. It's all in hindsight when you look at these things. It annoys me when people go, should have taken him off. Like, that would have made a difference. Like, people act like these things are going to happen in cup games and the injuries could happen in the next league game. You don't know when they're going to happen. So, yeah, Leeds United, of course, do play Aston Villa at the weekend in a game where I think it's going to be a tough game. I think a lot of people think it's going to be a tough game, of course, because we're going to Villa Park against a team who's 3rd in the league currently right now, fighting to get Champions League football. They've fallen off a little bit, so they do need to get some results if they do want to stick in that top 5. It'll be top 5, won't it, for Champions League football next season. So let's start off and go through the last 6 times we have actually played Aston Villa. So the last 6 times we played them, it's been a 2-1 win to Aston Villa, a 2-1 win to Aston Villa, a 0-0 draw, a 1-0 win to Aston Villa, a 3-0 win to Aston Villa, and a 3-3 draw. So recently it's been Villa with 4 wins, 2 draws, and Leeds United with 0 wins. So we've not won any of our last 6 games against Aston Villa. You know, so they've kind of had they've had the number on us basically in the last couple of times we played them, the last 6 times we have played them. Now you go and look at the form. You can look at the form as well of both teams, and you can see Villa have kind of just slipped a little bit in the last couple of weeks. So Leeds United have 3 wins, 2 draws, and 1 loss in their last 6. Of course, beating Fulham, drawing to Everton, losing to Arsenal, beating Nottingham Forest, drawing to Chelsea, and then winning in the cup against Birmingham. Meanwhile, Aston Villa are on a little bit of a up and down-ish in the last couple of weeks because they have 3 wins, 1 draw, and 2 losses. But they're going all the way back. They beat Newcastle 2-0. They beat Salzburg in the Europa League 3-2. They then lost to Brentford in the league 1-0. They then went and drew to Bournemouth 1-1. They then went on to beat Brighton 1-0. And in their most recent game in the Cup, they lost 3-1 to Newcastle United. So they've had a little bit of an up and down recently with 2 losses, 1 win, and 1 draw in their last 4 games. Meanwhile, you look at Leeds United and we've got 2 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw in the last 4 games. So the last 4 games, we've been the better team. So recent form shows that we've been better than Aston Villa, but it's still going to be a very tough game at Villa Park. I don't expect them to not be a tough game. I expect Morgan Rogers to be very good. I think he's a very good player. The last time we did play them in the league, of course, was when we were still playing with the 4-3-3, and we only lost 2-1 in a game where we were 1-0 up at halftime, and they made some subs at halftime. We got outclassed. Daniel Farke got outclassed by Emery at halftime as they made 2 subs. Both those subs were combined in both goals. I think both of them were involved in both goals, or at least one of them was involved in both goals, where they beat us 2-1. So going into this game, how do I think we're going to line up in this game? I think we're going to go with the back 3. So I'm going to say that Darlow keeps his spot in goal. I don't think Perry comes in, but I think Darlow keeps his spot in goal. Your back 3, I think Strauch comes straight back into this back 3 because I think Strauch has been a miss. And he's kind of been a player that you've looked at and been like, oh, we have really missed him. So I think Pascal Strauch comes back. I think it's going to be the Strauch, Biol, Rodon as the 3 centre-backs. Of course, Biol will be in the middle of the 3. I think Strauch coming back is massive, of course, because he's good at getting the ball and playing passes through the middle to help us get up the pitch at times. And sometimes you need that from one of your centre-backs, and Strauch's the player that can do that for us. I think that's going to be the back 3. Your wing-backs, of course, I think are going to be Goodmanson and Bogle. You're then going to see what we're going to do in the midfield, because I feel like you can't drop Gruev. So I'm going to say Gruev and Ampadu are going to play kind of like a double pivot defensively. I think that's what we're going to go with. So I think we're going to go with that. Aronson is going to be playing in the 10, I reckon. And then I think we're going to go with a front 2 of Nemetcha and DCL. So let me go through that lineup again. We're going to have Darlow in goal. The back 3, of course, will be Rodon, Strauch, and Biol in the middle. You're then going to have Goodmanson and Bogle. You're then going to have your 2 DMs in Ampadu and Gruev. And then you're going to have Aronson further forward in the number 10 role. And then in your front 2, you're going to have DCL and Nemetcha. I think we're going to go with the front 2. I have a feeling. With Okafor being out as well, I have a feeling we might go to that front 2. Unless Stack comes straight back in. But I have this weird feeling that Stack isn't going to come straight back in. Just because of how well Gruev has played recently. And for me, you're looking at that, like with the Strauch situation, Strauch comes straight back in because the competition's what, Bornau, who I've liked Bornau, but Strauch coming back in is an upgrade to Bornau. Where you look at Stack, and Stack's a great player. I'm not saying he's not better than Gruev, but based off current form, you can't just drop Gruev, in my opinion, for just somebody who's coming back from an injury, because I think Gruev's done his job and done very well. I think that's how we're going to line up. So I think Gruev keeps his spot next to Ampadu, and I think that's how we're going to line up, and Stack will be used as a sub. I think Stack's going to be slowly more introduced into the game in the next couple of weeks before he gets a start again. If he gets a start, depending on how Gruev plays. Because if he keeps playing well, Gruev, he keeps his spot and Stack doesn't get him, which is fair because you have to earn your spot in the team. So yeah, I do think that's going to be our lineup now. I could see Stack starting. Saying all that, I can still see Stack starting this game, but I just have a feeling Fark is not going to do that just based off performances from Gruev and Ampadu, and I think together they played pretty well when they played together. I think, we saw that in the Championship, and I think we've seen that recently in the Premier League as well. You can't drop Aronson, and he's the number 10, and as I said, I do think we're going to go with the 110, which will be Aronson. If we don't play Metra and DCL, I think it'll be Stack and Aronson as the two 10s on the right and left of DCL. So the only way I can see Stack starting is if Nemetra doesn't start. But Nemetra scoring in the cup and all that, and I think Fark might go back to that 2 up top and try that again, which I would like to see. But yeah, it's interesting what will happen. I'll be fine with either way, but I just don't know if Stack's going to come straight back in. But I'll be fine if he does. So as I said, in the front line, it's going to be a DCL, Stack, Aronson, or an Aronson Mecha DCL. That's going to be the front three, in my opinion. One of those two. I think he'll go DCL Mecha because I kind of do want to see that again. I want to see it personally myself. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments down below how we're going to line up. I'll go for my score prediction. I'm going to back Leeds United to win based off, how good we've been playing under Daniel Fark since changing. I can never say we're going to lose a game, in this 3-5-2, whatever you want to call it, 3-5-2, when we played the back three, I just don't see us losing games. It's going to be a tough game. We might lose, but hey, I'm going to go for a 2-1 Leeds United. Let me know what your score predictions are in the comment section down below. Let me know how you think we're going to line up. Does Stack come straight back in? Does Perry start? Maybe. Does Stroud come back in? And yeah, just let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.